Well, that being said, it is Pride Month, and this month is the start of Pride Month, and London Pride is on the 2nd of July, Brighton on the 6th of August, but right here in Basildon, there's Basildon Pride on the 3rd of September. It's important to remember, amongst all the glamour and excitement of the parades, and people had to fight and often suffer to allow the LGBTQ community to even have a voice, let alone march in the world. Stephen Smith joins me. He's Anna Kennedy online patron and also my regular contributor as well. So, Stephen, happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride. It's such an important month for me. It's like Christmas and New Year. I'm so excited.
And it obviously means a lot as well, Stephen.
Aston, I know that you have a couple of questions to ask me about Pride, but I think our guest is getting ready to go on Loose Women. So,
all right, yes, indeed.
I know your family are LGBTQ really friendly. And my next guest is someone who came from a family that even back in the 80s opened their arms to gay people. She didn't know any different, to be quite honest. Her dad, God bless him, was one of my best friends, drag queen Raquel Vin, who I love so much. I'm choking up as I'm saying that, sorry. She was once described as a gay man in a woman's body long before Madonna. It's the legendary Denise Welch. Happy Pride!
Hello, Denise. So, and it's great to have you on as well, because you recently won Ally of the Year at the Diva Awards back in 2017. But what did it mean to you winning this award?
And 2019 as well, which is amazing.
Two-time winner.
And in fact, I was out at dinner with Linda Riley, who I know is guesting on your show as well, the head lesbian of the whole world. So I was out with her last night. So I'm a very, very, very proud ally. And as Stephen said, my mum and dad were, well, I guess that they were allies before we thought of people as allies. You know, I grew up born in the 1950s and the 60s when we didn't talk about homosexuality as much as we do now. People were much less open, but my mum and dad had gay friends, and so it was part of my life. And then when I was little, my dad went to a fancy dress party, and for those people of your older listeners, they may remember the actress Raquel Welch. Obviously, our surname is Welch. And my dad went to a party dressed as a woman and looked absolutely amazing. And people started to book him to go to their parties. So he became a sort of drag act before his time and went out under the name of Raquel. And so Stephen and my dad, as he said, who we lost in September, they were very, very close friends. And we had some mighty fun nights with Dad. I feel I've always been an ally. I was born into being an ally into your amazing community.
I know, Denise, you know, I say your family, I was lucky enough to be brought into them, and Annie and Vin were very dear to me, and your dad and I had some amazing nights out. But, you know, still out there are mums, dads, and that when the kid comes out, can't accept it. What advice would you give? Because what advice would you give someone if they're not able to cope with the fact their child's gay?
Well, I think they have to. I think the whole point is that everybody should be able to love whoever they want to love. But a lot of people who are maybe not as accepting of their children being gay, it's because of the way that they've been brought up, Stephen, or it's because of religious confines. And I think that they just have to address certain things. I think that it's really interesting, you know, because up to a certain age, you believe everything your mum and dad tell you, and you tend to take on their belief system. And I grew up thinking that I didn't like Australia. And that's because my mum had convinced me that Australia was just a field with Skippy in it. And it wasn't until I got to about 18 that I thought, hang on a minute, I'd love to go to Australia. I then did go to Australia and I loved it. So I think that people have to sort of look back as to why they have those views and just think that what everybody should want, and the majority of people do want for their children, is for them to live a life as happy as is possible. And if that means that your child has had the courage to come out and say that they're gay, that you need to embrace that. I've got 2 straight sons. And of course, as you know, Stephen, I really, really wanted a gay son. So
you know, that's so true. My dad told me growing up, don't trust the Welsh. Don't trust the Welsh. And as much as my dad told me, when I went to Cardiff for the first time, I was slightly nervous.
That's it. We believe in it, sort of like an indoctrination. But I think that, you know, now that we talk about it so much, now that people are free to come out, you know, it's something that we all need to embrace and have a conversation with someone, you know, and for the LGBTQ people who are frightened to come out, there is always someone they can talk to. And sometimes, you know, we need to have more programming. And I'm celebrating our friend Steve and Jackie Lawrence tonight.
Yeah.
Who is being given the Iris Award, which is for LGBTQ filmmaking, and especially her work with lesbian filmmaking. And we need more of it, and we need more with humor. A few years ago, Aston, I did a series called Boy Meets Girl, and it featured a trans character played by the wonderful Rebecca.
All right,
Root.
yeah.
But because it was a sitcom, it was a comedy, many parents of trans kids said to me, if I'd watched a documentary on it, I wouldn't have been interested. Or people who didn't know anything about the trans world. But because it was celebrated, but also with comedy, people actually embraced it, learned a lot from it. And there were several trans people came out to their parents as a result of Boy Meets Girl. So I think that programming and inclusion and using humor to explain this world really, really does help, and we need more of it.
Now, I remember a really poignant moment in it when you charge in and got to the bedroom, and rather than it being, open arms, it was what probably a real parent would do. You know, I don't like this, but however, hurt my son, you're dead. And it was so realistic, and I thought it was a brilliant series.
Yeah.
Have you? Do you think gay people should only play gay characters? There's been a lot in the papers about it.
It's a tricky one, Stephen, because, you know, I understand that feeling, but at the same time, I do cling on to the fact that we're actors. Would I have a problem with a lesbian playing a straight woman? No, I wouldn't personally. But then again, I'm not in the minority. As a straight white woman, I'm not in the minority. But then it's difficult now because people were saying you shouldn't play people of different religions if you're not that. And it's also, you know, I'm trying to cling on to the fact that I'm an actor, but I also do understand it. So I try not to get too immersed in the conversation because it's difficult for me. I'm not gay, so it's difficult for me to see it from that sort of my minority side, and I understand both sides of the argument.
As a gay man, I think acting's a craft. So therefore, you're there to play all different roles. And where does it stop at that point? You're quite right.
Exactly.
And that's the thing as well. And obviously coming over to about your dad here, Denise, and God bless him as well, I have to say. How did you react to your dad being a drag queen in his time as well? So God bless him as well.
Especially because, Aston, my dad didn't always do his drag on a stage. My dad did his drag to go out. And it was interesting, you know, because I said to my dad once, you know, Dad, that if you have anything to tell me about your sexuality, you know that I will be completely accepting of it. I did. And he said to me, if I was gay or bisexual, I know that I could tell you. I'm not. I just love the feeling of freedom. I love the reaction I get when I dress as a woman. I love the fact that it makes me feel different. And that was amazing. But mostly with my dad, he loved nothing more, Aston, than going on holiday, meeting loads of English people, him and Mum. And then on the penultimate night, he'd come down to meet them in the bar as Raquel, and they would all go, what a hoot, you're marvelous. And he just loved the reaction and the stir it caused. So I totally accepted it. My sister Debbie, another great friend of Stephen, did find it a little bit more. The thing is, she didn't mind it. But for an example, she was working on a Greek cruise line. She worked on the cruises for years.
Yeah.
And she got Mum and Dad to come over on a sort of cheap and cheerful week, you know, for friends and family. And she said to Dad, look, Dad, I don't know a lot of the people on this. I don't know what the Greek community think of drag. So please, Mum, don't let him bring his dresses, right? About halfway through Captain's Night, Dad disappeared with a tricky tummy. And about half an hour later, Deborah said she walked along the corridor to find him and was passed by Shirley Bassey on his way back to the room. She sat in her cabin crying for half an hour because she was so stressed. came back into the captain's night, and Dad had been crowned king and queen of the cruise. So she had to sort of get used to it. But, you know, we loved him, and it was part of who he was. And all of my gay friends just loved Dad, and they loved Raquel.
You played a lesbian character yourself in different for girls.
I did.
Yeah. What was that like, playing a character like that?
Well, I mean, it was lovely of Jackie Lawrence to give me that role. She said she gave me the role because she felt that I was the best actress for the part. So she obviously thinks similarly to you, even though she is at the forefront of lesbian filmmaking. Absolutely. And I was a bit nervous when we went to the screening of it in a cinema in the West End.
Yeah.
And when the kiss came on, I got a standing ovation from the lesbian community. So I felt accepted in that moment, and it was fantastic.
Big shout out to Jackie for Gateway Grind. That was
Gateway Grind, the amazing documentary about the Gateway Club. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Oh, and obviously, as I say, acting big time as well, obviously there. But that being said, as we mentioned, we've got Linda Riley, who's on later here, Denise, and you've mentioned that as well, with photographer Graham Martin, who dressed you up as the 1920 Berlin Marlene Dietrich style character. Yeah. So did you find it empowering at that time when doing this photo shoot? And how much do you think public opinion has changed about it now? I
absolutely did. Stephen did the modeling for that. And again, embraced me into that community as an ally. I absolutely, I have a lot of lesbian and gay and gay friends. Lincoln, it's really interesting, because my husband is a sort of, it is a real kind of straight alpha male. Yeah. And he never feels more comfortable than surrounded by my lesbian friends. They want to start a band called Lincoln and the Lesbians because he spends so much time with them, basically. Now probably wearing the t-shirt.
He was a lesbian in a previous lifetime.
But so Linda Riley, I mean, Linda does so much for the lesbian community. She's an absolute powerhouse. In fact, she's just got her O1 for working, the visa you need to work in America. And she has the O1 for services to lesbianism. You can't get more of a head lesbian than Linda Riley. So she's a great guest and a great person.
Joan Rivers could do so many one-liners on that one.
She absolutely could. The late, great Joan Rivers. Yeah.
You were on the Pride bus a couple of years back. I mean, time's gone so fast, but you were on the Pride bus a few years ago. I mean, how was that feeling going through London on top of a bus with your fans? And
because I was on the cover of Diva magazine, if you remember, Diva put me on the cover. And I'm just so, do you know what? I'm just so proud that I've been accepted into that community. My self-appointed gay icon status really started with Coronation Street, when I was playing the sort of diva bitch in Corrie and stuff like that. And, Loose Women has a big gay following. But as I say, I just think that people appreciate you being a friend and an ally to the community. And a lot of my best friends are in that community. So I just enjoy spending time. And if my presence at something or my voice can help in any way, I've brought both my sons up to be very strong allies. Matthew, Matthew, my son from the 1975, funded an LGBTQ drop-in centre in London. And because they've grown up knowing nothing other than acceptance. And I think when people say, you're proud of your sons, career-wise, I'm more proud of the men that they are.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Absolutely incredible.
And this is a quote from Jennifer Saunders here, Denise, as well. She said, once if I was in a tight spot, they'd want to put this woman on their side and think anyone who meets she feels the same as well. But the big question is, why are you not on the honours list or been on the honours list yet?
Yes!
Oh, well, listen, that is very kind of you. And Stephen always says that because, because I try to do my bit for charity. But I also think that of all the people I may have helped, I'm quite gobby, and I think I may have offended some of the people that would get me the honour. I don't know, but it's very nice. It's very nice of you to say. But there's lots of unsung heroes, way ahead of me, who are far more deserving. But Stephen's always been a champion of mine, and I love you, Stephen, for that.
We're trying to get a campaign together to get you on the honours list.
Stephen. But listen, guys, I've got to go because they're shouting me for makeup.
Of course. So,
thank you so much for having me, Aston. I love doing the show. I'm, have me on any time you want, if you want me to sort of gob off about anything.
That won't be.
I'm never short of things to say.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Stephen, I'll call you and we'll go to the Jean-Paul Gaultier show together.
Ciao. Speak to you later.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.